Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today we're going to be talking about navigating Ancestry member trees and when to take them and when to leave them. So currently I am on an ancestor of mine, Mary Ann Groves. So to get to this view from your tree, just go ahead and click on someone, and if you come up to the quick view, go and click on their name again to go to their profile view. This is what I like to call the profile view, to where you can see their life story, their facts, their gallery, and we're going to go over to hints, which is where I am currently on. So one of the top ones will probably be an Ancestry member tree. So it looks like we have 3 other public Ancestry member trees. I'm going to click review here, and then it should take me into looking at those trees. So Ancestry member trees, they can be a really great resource, but they can also provide a lot of incorrect information. So right now, I kind of want to show you some of the tips and tricks that I usually use when I am looking for member trees that are going to be beneficial for me. So one of the first things I would like to do is I want to see how similar the information is to me and to my person. So as you can see that the birth dates are different, but they're pretty much the same as well. The only thing that's different here is going to be the death date. So if we keep going down, we can also see here it's a similar birth date and a very similar death date. As well as down here, that one's going to be similar. Actually, that's my tree, so I know that's probably correct and the ones that I want to go off of. Another thing that I like to look off of is how many sources do they have. The more sources that they have, the more correct it's going to be. As well as when you've been working on this, you can tell which family trees and which owners you have been looking off of. So personally, because this person's is different, and this one is pretty similar from all the information that I've already gathered in my further research, I'm going to skip past this one. Even though it looks like it has the correct people attached to it, I'm going to go off of this one just because the different dates. Now we can look at different sources and we can look at different records to see which information is correct, as well as we can pick and choose. So if we wanted to go off of this information and just not include that death date, we could do that as well. So I'm just going to go off of this tree, going to click on it, and then I'm going to review selected tree hints. All right, now here is where we get to pick and choose where we want to gather our information from. So this person I had actually imported from Family Search into my Ancestry tree. So all this information that's new, we can go ahead and import back into Family Search. So I am going to add the death date because it is different, and the death place because it just gives us a little bit more information. The death is the same, the marriage is the same, so that makes me really comfortable that this information is all correct, even though it might be a little different, or you might find new information. So I'm going to add her parents, and it looks like just about everything is the same, which is fantastic, except now for her mother we have a death date. I am going to trust that death date because all the other information is very, very similar. All right, now let's go ahead and add her spouse here. And it looks like all the information is correct. Just a little bit more of information on the death place for her husband, which is great. I like to think of getting more information, even if it's just a little bit more granular, because before it was just New York, but now we have a county. That's really going to let the system know, hey, we want to search in this specific county for records, and helps us to find more hints or more information that we might not have found otherwise. It just lets the system know, hey, look in this spot and not just this huge spot of New York. Let's go ahead and add in children. So before we did not have any children from Mary Ann Grove and Charles Truman Shoe. I am going to add in all of these children. Now these might be on my Family Search, and they probably are, but it's fantastic that we get to add them here from that tree. And because of how many sources this person had from their tree, also because I've used that tree before and I trust their work, and because I know some of the information is already correct in the sources, I am going to add in the rest of these people. I am going to click Save to Tree. And I'm not going to edit this down so you can see how long it will take to add to this tree as well as add those new people. So as you can see, it did not take that long. It might be because my computer's fast or whatnot, but it should not take too long. Now that we've added her, I'm going to go click on the tree so then we can look at her and just make sure that we have some of the correct people. So one thing that I do like to do after I have added in new family members, specifically new children, so I just want to double check and make sure that there are sources that line up. So Charles Henry Shue was a new child from Charles T. Shue and Mary Ann Groves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the hints and just make sure that we have some sources that show that they were related. So as you can see, here's a Find a Grave. I find that Find a Grave is really, really great. A great resource, and it gets you really correct information 99% of the time. So I'm just going to review this and make sure that Charles Henry Shue lines up with Charles T. Shue and Mary Ann Groves, which her married name would be Mary Ann Shue, as you can see over here. I'm going to connect these because, yes, it does look like Charles Henry Shue is the child of Mary Ann Groves and Charles Truman Shue. We can also add any information that may be new here. You can see from Find a Grave, now that we have double checked that Charles Henry is the correct child, we can add in his spouse from Find a Grave. And going to just scroll down and connect everybody. This might take a little bit. And I'm going to hit Save to Tree. But that's great that we have a hard resource that links the child and the parent from those Ancestry member trees. So that's kind of an overview of how I like to go and use Ancestry member trees. A few takeaways that I would make sure to look at when you're working with Ancestry member trees is that you can find trees that have lots of sources, that it matches up fairly well with your information that you already have and that you've already vetted with your sources, and that any new information is just going to be just slightly new. So it might add a city or a county, or it might add a birth day and month, whereas you might just have had the year. Those are some really great things to look for when vetting your Ancestry member trees. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.